Well, today's news conference, the president suggested he might be willing to believe Putin's denials that Russia meddled in our last presidential election. Watch.
So I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today.
Well, that set off a tidal wave of criticism. Former CIA Director John Brennan tweeted, and we're quoting, "Donald Trump's press conference performance in Helsinki rises to and exceeds the threshold of high crimes and misdemeanors," in other words, grounds for impeachment. And we're quoting now, "It was nothing short of treasonous. Not only were Trump's comments imbecilic, he is wholly in the pocket of Putin. Republican patriots, where are you?" What to make of all this? Joining us now is a man who has covered several Russia-U.S. summits around the world. NYU professor emeritus and Nation contributing editor Stephen Cohen, one of the country's preeminent Russia scholars. Professor Cohen, thanks a lot for joining us. Assess, if you would, the reaction today to this press conference and to the summit between Putin and Trump.
The reaction by most of the media, by the Democrats, by the anti-Trump people, is like mob violence. I've never seen anything like it in my life. This is the President of the United States doing what every president, Tucker, since Franklin Delano Roosevelt did in 1943 with Stalin, meeting with the head of the Kremlin. And every president since Eisenhower, a Republican by the way, has met with the leader of the Kremlin for one existential purpose: to avoid war between the two nuclear superpowers. Today, in my considered scholarly long-time judgment, relations between the United States and Russia are more dangerous than they have ever, let me repeat, ever been, including the Cuban Missile Crisis. I want my president to do, I didn't vote for this president, but I want my president to do what every other president has done: sit with the head of the other nuclear superpower and walk back the conflicts that could lead to war, whether they be in Syria, Ukraine, in the Baltic nations, in these accusations of cyber attacks. Every president has been encouraged to do that and applauded by both parties, not Trump. Look what they did to him today. They held a kangaroo court. They found him guilty. And then you have the former head of the United States CIA, who himself ought to be put under oath and asked about his role in inventing Russiagate, calling the President of the United States treasonous. What have we come to in this country? And what's going to happen in the future?
Well, those are questions that adults ought to be discussing, I think. But tell me if my assessment is wrong. It seems almost as if some in our leadership class on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, seek increased conflict with Russia. Do you think that's right? And if it is, why?
All right, you've asked a fundamental question. Do they know what they're doing? I don't know. They seem to hate or resent the idea of Trump as president, that they've all lost all sense of American national security. I would ask them a question. If you ever get these people on, ask them this question for yourself, for me, for the nation. Do you, these people who are hunting Trump, do you prefer trying to impeach Trump to trying to avert war with nuclear Russia? That's the bottom line. And that's where we're at today. Because when I listen to where they denounce the summit, that's what they're doing.
Look, and I'm in no way defending Russia about, with which I have no connection whatsoever. And I'm basically agnostic, and I take it as a matter of faith that they seek to influence the U.S. government, undermine our elections. None of that surprises me at all. I just don't understand why Russia uniquely is considered an unacceptable partner for conversation, while at the same time we are happy to have close, intimate relations with Saudi Arabia, for example, the government of China, for example, both more repressive than the government of Russia. I'm missing this. Why the emphasis on Russia?
People have written books about this, historians. Why is it that Russia seems to be our wicked witch of the East, when Russia has more in common with the United States? It's a Christian country. It's a big country. It was a frontier country. We were allies during World War II. I mean, Russia, this will upset people, but historically, Russia defeated Nazi Germany in Europe. We defeated the Japanese in the Pacific. We were great allies. After that, things went bad. Who's to blame? Historians have written lots of books. But why, since the end of the Soviet Union, there's no communism? Let me ask you a question. You know, D.C., why do these people dislike Putin, the president of post-communist Russia, more than they ever seem to dislike the communist leaders? It's more about us, Tucker, than it's about them. And this is really dangerous, not permitting the president of the United States to keep us safe.
And I think it is no defense of Putin to ask that exact question. I'm just going to repeat it for our viewers in case they missed it. Why do so many people in charge now dislike the current leader of Russia more than they dislike the communists who killed tens of millions? I don't know. I can't answer it, but thank you for asking.
There is an answer, but we need a lot of time. And a psychiatrist.
Well, we'll have it. I hope you'll come back.
And a psychiatrist.
Thank you. Great to see you, Professor Stephen Cohen. Well, in response to the day's events, the left has adopted hatred of Russia as the new litmus test, the single litmus test for patriotism as an American. Unless you agree with them, you are not a good American. Some of us resent that. Some on the left are even willing to demand a military government in our country as long as it's sufficiently anti-Moscow. Think we're overstating? We're not. Stephen Cohen, a different one, this one an elected representative, a Democrat from Memphis, Tennessee, tweeted this today, quote, "Where are our military folks? The commander-in-chief is in the hands of our enemy." So here you have an elected representative calling for a military coup in our country in the name of democracy.